Hey everyone, and welcome back to this impromptu video. There has been a lot of controversy over Balenciaga's recent holiday campaign, and it's sparked a lot of outrage in the fashion community as well as many outlets actually. And um, I don't own anything for Balenciaga, and it's not anything that I had my eye on. I found that a lot of the items that they offer are a little bit too trendy for my liking, but anyway. So I've never really been following any of their campaigns or fashion shows. Actually two of you reached out to me via YouTube comments as well as Instagram and sent me a post from, I think, Diet Prada or something. And I was busy, I didn't have a chance to really look at it, but one of you had encouraged me to speak on this subject and share my thoughts and raise awareness and discuss the outrage, as it is a responsibility of influencers. So one thing is, I'm flattered that you think I'm an influencer. I don't think I'm a huge influencer. I have a very small space on the internet, but I'm glad that you value my opinion. So I had to look into it, and I haven't seen a lot of information, but I read a few articles and I saw the campaign myself. And right off the bat, the imagery that's portrayed is unsettling. It evokes unsettling feelings when I do see it. And yes, a lot of campaigns use provocative imagery to get your attention. So, you know the saying, bad publicity is good publicity. So anything to get a consumer's attention and get people talking is going to be good for a business. Now, this is where children are involved, and there's definitely a fine line. Well, there's a major line that you just can't cross with children. When I look at the images, they have basically children who don't look like, they just look like they're not in a good place. Like they look like they're not very happy. And children are, generally speaking, like if they're taken care of, they're smiley kids, right? Like mentally, they just don't look like they're in an okay place. And they're holding these, I think they're handbags. They're like, they mimic, they look like teddy bears. And the teddy bears are wearing like harnesses and bondage gear and all that. So the kids are holding these. And then there's other motifs in these campaigns. So there's like, well, there's alcohol, right? There's like wine glasses. And it's in a scenario or in a arrangement where you typically wouldn't find kids. So it's like an adult's house. It's like a party or something. It's a weird type of party. You wouldn't really see kids in that sort of environment. And there are other items on the table, so I can't really see closely myself, but it's been said that there are court documents on the table that discuss crimes committed against children. So a lot of child abuse of various forms that is conveyed on these court documents. So a lot of the imagery or motifs are strung together, and it's not all coincidental. Definitely there has been some strategy to put all of these motifs together. So it's definitely done on purpose. It's done with intent. And it takes a lot of money to create these campaigns, so it's not all by coincidence. It's not somebody just randomly shooting. This was all staged with a specific message in mind. So the thing is it's definitely getting a lot of people's attention, first of all. I understand the campaign's been taken down because of the outrage and people questioning Balenciaga or whoever was behind this campaign. And of course, these companies are, years old and have had many different people running different departments. So, as a whole brand, is probably not behind this. It's probably a subset of people, but regardless, Balenciaga, you have your name on it. The thing is a lot of companies will put out messages to raise awareness about certain problems in the world. So there are companies that will have a campaign out to portray shocking images of domestic abuse, suicide, mental illness, addictions, homelessness, and they're not done for profit, right? Like they are taking a social responsibility to grab your attention, to let you know that something awful is happening in the world. And it's a way to raise awareness and give support. But in this case, that's not what it is. They're using this imagery to sell their products. So I'm not buying it. I'm not seeing it as like, oh, this is a social awareness campaign. It's not. They're portraying these ideas, and it's kind of like subliminal messaging in a way. Yet it's kind of obvious. But the images are unsettling nonetheless. So yes, there's approval with campaigns and all, but my main concern is the ethics behind recruiting these children for this campaign. And under what pretenses did they consent to having their pictures taken like this? They're kids, right? They're somebody's kids. Where are their parents? Do they have parents? Do they have guardians? Do they have anybody looking over their well-being? Because, I mean, not to judge anybody's parenting, but I don't think any parent would want their child photographed like that. So, like, were they compelled to consent to this? Like, I'm just thinking about the families. Are they vulnerable, right? There's a lot of disgusting things that are happening out there in the world, and there are a lot of people who are so oppressed and so vulnerable that they do not have any say or agency in making decisions like this. There are orphans out there. There are children of war. There are children who are being traded, trafficked. So who are these kids? Are they models? I don't know. I think for any of you who have kids in modeling, share your thoughts. Let me know how it goes down, because I don't have kids, so I don't know. But it just, yes, there's the ad campaign, and while that's all wrong, and obviously that should not have been shot, but I'm just thinking, like, how did they get these kids? Where are these kids coming from? And how did they get them to pose like that? I don't understand how this happened. Is it art? Maybe you can say it's art, but how did they put this together? Art can come in many forms, but how are these kids recruited for this is where I'm concerned. There are models, not just kids, there are other models, female models, male models, who have, adult models that have voiced that they were forced to pose for a photo in a certain way where they felt really uncomfortable and they could not say no. So there's definitely a lot of unbalanced power struggles in the fashion industry, as well as many other industries. So definitely is something, people are right to have that outrage, and I'm glad that people are talking about it. This ripples into other brands or other businesses or companies that may not be as well known as Balenciaga. And we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. There are also other businesses where we know kids or other vulnerable groups are treated unjustly. We know this with fast fashion. We're aware of this, but we just kind of bat an eye because we think, oh, they're just like cheap like brands and what do you expect sort of thing. And we know we're aware of big fast fashion brands that we shop from, that I shop from, that you shop from. We're aware that they don't treat their workers well, they don't treat their staff well. We know that there's some atrocities that do happen, but we don't hold them as high to as high of a standard as major design houses. Everybody should be held to that standard, I think. I think we're just outraged because with these major fashion brands and these design houses, we justify the prices that they charge for their products because we're like, well, they pay their workers well, or they like they don't support child labor, they don't abuse people, and this is why they charge so much, right? So seeing a little glimmer in this campaign makes you a little bit concerned, right? So there's definitely abuse of power. So it's not good. And like I said, I don't follow this brand. I don't follow their fashion shows. I mean, I think I did see a clip of the backstage of a Balenciaga fashion show where models or people were holding kids. And they were like on the runway. And again, those kids did not look like, there's just a look in their eyes where they don't seem very responsive. Like something's not right. Like, and what I'm implying is that maybe they're drugged. You don't know. How do you get them to pose like that? How do you get them to be less fidgety? Especially like little babies that they're holding. Babies cry, babies are reactive, and they seemed very non-reactive. So were they drugged? Like, what's going on? So because when I saw the images, like without really knowing too much, they were disturbing. They looked disturbing, and I felt like it was unsettling. So something's off. These kids aren't taken care of. I don't know who these kids belong to. Like I said, they could be pulled from anywhere. So my main concern is the ethics behind recruiting these children for these photos. And then it's a separate issue altogether that how these photos were taken and what was conveyed in this image. So these are the thoughts running through my head. I hope that my thoughts are helping the situation. I don't know how to help the situation. I think it's just collectively we need to investigate and raise awareness and hold brands accountable. There's cancel culture. There's people who will cancel an entire brand and not shop from them again, or may own some of their items and will throw out those items. I don't know if throwing out those items really helps because you've already supported them in the past. They already have your money. But I think moving forward, just being mindful of who you're supporting. I hope, I don't know what your thoughts are. If you can share them in the description box down below. Let me know if I missed anything, and I'll see you next time.